Welcome to episode 4 of The Deep Dive, where we take your sources and bring out the most fascinating insights. I'm John, and I'll be guiding you through today's deep dive.
And I'm Olivia. I'm here to help connect all the dots and see the bigger picture.
So today we are diving into the world of TikTok Shop and how it's changing e-commerce, especially for those of us familiar with selling on Amazon.
Yeah, we've got a really interesting CNBC article that reveals how TikTok Shop is attracting these sellers with low fees, big discounts, and a whole new way to reach customers.
All right, so let's unpack this CNBC article. What is it about TikTok Shop that has everyone buzzing?
Well, it's all about the incredible growth they're experiencing and the potential threat they pose to giants like Amazon. The article highlights how TikTok Shop has just exploded in popularity since launching back in September 2023.
Oh, wow.
They're already projecting a gross merchandise volume, or GMV, of $50 billion for 2024. That's more than double what they did in the previous year.
$50 billion. That's a massive number. What's driving this huge amount of growth?
Well, it's a lot of factors, but I think one of the biggest is TikTok's unique format. It really blends entertainment and shopping in a way that's super appealing, especially to younger audiences. You're just scrolling through your For You page, enjoying those short videos, and boom, you come across a shoppable post with a product that catches your eye.
Right.
And you can buy it right then and there without even leaving the app.
So it's all about capturing those impulse purchases, right?
Exactly. The article makes it clear that TikTok Shop is super effective at getting those impulse buys because it really taps into our desire for instant gratification and FOMO, that fear of missing out.
That makes a lot of sense. But how different is it really from shopping on other social media platforms?
That's a good question, and that's where it gets really interesting. The article goes deep into how TikTok's algorithm is different from other social media platforms. You see, it's designed to show you products that you might not even know you need based on your viewing habits and what you engage with.
Wow.
It's like having a personal shopper curating your feed with must-have items.
So it's not just about seeing ads. It's about personalized discovery.
Exactly. And the article highlights how these brands are leveraging this to their advantage. And we're not just talking about small businesses or niche products. Big names like Nike, Packs, and Crocs, they're all on board, and they're finding success on TikTok Shop.
Wow, that's fascinating. So what does all this mean for Amazon sellers? I know the CNBC article mentioned that a lot of them are moving to TikTok Shop.
Yep.
What's the big draw?
Well, one major factor is the low fees that TikTok Shop charges compared to Amazon. You know how much Amazon can take out of a seller's profits, especially for the smaller businesses? TikTok is really undercutting them by offering a more attractive deal.
It sounds like they're really trying to attract sellers away from Amazon.
It is one way to look at it. The article even mentions that TikTok Shop is actually hiring former Amazon employees, so they're definitely going after that seller base.
Wow, that's interesting. So what else is drawing sellers to TikTok Shop besides the lower fees?
Well, on top of lower fees, TikTok Shop is also subsidizing those really deep discounts and offering free shipping. That's a huge draw for consumers, and it puts pressure on Amazon to compete.
So it's a price war in a way.
Yeah, kind of, but it's also about offering a different kind of shopping experience. The article talks about how brands are using TikTok Shop's live streaming feature to create these really engaging and interactive shopping events. For example, Sarah Potempa, the CEO of Beach Waver. She does these marathon packing shows where she's packing orders live while she's chatting with viewers, answering questions, and even throwing in some dance breaks.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds way more fun than clicking add to cart.
Right. It definitely is, and it's a great example of this larger trend of live stream shopping, which is becoming increasingly popular all over the world. So TikTok Shop is tapping into this in a really smart way.
I think it's really interesting how they're blurring those lines between entertainment and shopping.
Totally, and that's a big part of the appeal. The article even mentions Scrub Daddy, the company behind those smiley face sponges. They hired a former QVC host to bring that professional live streaming expertise to their TikTok Shop.
That's a great example of how they're taking things from traditional retail and bringing it to a new generation of shoppers. It seems like TikTok Shop has a lot going for it. But what about the elephant in the room? What about this potential TikTok ban in the U.S.?
That's the big question, isn't it? The article recaps the current situation. President Biden signed a law requiring ByteDance, which is TikTok's parent company, to sell the app by January 19th, 2025. If they don't, it could mean a nationwide ban.
So just a little over a year from now. And what does that mean for all those sellers that are joining TikTok Shop?
Well, it's a calculated risk. The article mentions that many sellers are adopting a wait-and-see approach.
Right.
They're capitalizing on the platform's current momentum. They figure they might as well make the most of it while they can. Some even have backup plans already.
They're hedging their bets.
Exactly. Some sellers, like Yay Snacks, who were mentioned in the article, are prepared to just shift their focus back to Amazon or their own websites if TikTok goes away.
That's pretty smart.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of uncertainty, but also a lot of excitement and opportunity surrounding TikTok Shop.
Definitely. I think it's a fascinating example of how quickly things can change in the e-commerce landscape and how new players can really disrupt the established order.
Okay, that's a great overview of TikTok Shop's rise and its appeal to Amazon sellers and the looming uncertainty of this potential ban. But we've only just started to scratch the surface.
Yeah.
Coming up in part 2, we'll look at some specific examples of how brands are finding success on TikTok Shop and dig deeper into the potential implications of this ban. Stay tuned, it's going to get even more interesting.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to part 2 of our deep dive into TikTok Shop.
Yeah, we spent the last part talking about its growth and the potential ban.
Right now, let's get into how brands are actually using TikTok Shop to get those sales and really engage with their customers.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier the example of Sarah Patempa and her packing shows. It's a perfect example of how brands are using live streaming to create a shopping experience people really engage with.
Yeah, she goes live like a couple times a week, spending hours packing orders while she's talking with viewers. It's so different from just regular online shopping.
I think it's really interesting how she's made something like packing orders seem exciting. You know, people tune in to buy stuff, but they're also there to connect with her and just be a part of the experience.
Yeah, it's kind of like a reality show, but for online shopping.
Exactly. And it works really well. Beachwaver has sent out over 1.2 million orders through TikTok Shop.
Wow, that's incredible. What do you think is the key to their success?
Well, part of it is that entertainment factor. Sarah's got a great personality and she makes it fun, but it's also about creating a sense of urgency and excitement.
How so?
Well, during her live streams, Sarah gives out these exclusive discounts and free stuff only for the people watching live.
Ah, so really plays on that fear of missing out.
Exactly. Viewers are more likely to buy if they think they'll miss out on a good deal.
Right. It's a smart strategy. And you mentioned Scrub Daddy is also using live streaming really well.
Yeah. They hired Dan Hughes, a former QVC host, to bring that professional touch to their live streams. It's a good move when you think about QVC's history with live shopping.
It makes you think, are we seeing the home shopping network model come back, but online?
That's a good point. I think TikTok Shop is really tapping into that desire for interactive shopping that platforms like QVC started.
Yeah, but what about the consumers? What is it about TikTok Shop that they like?
Well, for one thing, it's really easy to use. You're already scrolling through TikTok. Why not just buy what you like right then and there?
Right, you don't have to open a different app or website.
Yeah, exactly. It's quick and easy, and we all like things to be instant, but it's more than just that.
Right, there's that whole entertainment factor.
Exactly. TikTok Shop has made shopping fun. You're not just buying stuff. You're finding new things, connecting with creators, and feeling like you're part of a community.
And don't forget about all the discounts and free shipping.
Yeah, those are always a plus, especially for younger shoppers.
It seems like TikTok Shop has found a winning formula. But what are some of the downsides or challenges for businesses that want to use the platform?
Well, the biggest one is that potential ban. It's a big gamble for businesses to spend time and money on a platform that might not be around in a year or two.
Yeah, that's a legitimate concern.
Yeah.
Are there other challenges?
Yeah. Another one is the competition. TikTok Shop is new, but it's getting crowded with all these Amazon sellers coming over. It's not easy to stand out and get people's attention.
So there's no guarantee for success.
Nope. Businesses need to have a good plan. They need to make good content, work with influencers, and offer good prices and shipping.
You mentioned that some sellers are just waiting to see what happens with the ban.
Yeah.
But what about the ones who are already using TikTok Shop? What can they do if the ban happens?
They'll need a plan B. Maybe they can focus on other platforms like Amazon or build up their own online stores.
So there's a lot of uncertainty and risk, but a lot of potential reward too.
That's how it is with these new platforms. TikTok Shop is definitely a game changer. It's changing how we shop online, and it's making companies like Amazon adapt.
We've covered a lot in this part of our deep dive. We talked about how brands are finding success, the challenges and the opportunities TikTok Shop offers.
Yeah.
But there's still more to talk about.
Right.
Coming up in the final part of this deep dive, we'll take a closer look at what all this means for the future of shopping. Welcome back to the deep dive. We spent the last two parts talking about TikTok Shop It's been pretty crazy.
Yeah, we've seen how it's attracting sellers with those low fees and new ways to connect with customers, and how brands are creating this whole new experience where entertainment meets shopping.
Yeah, it's definitely shaking things up.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about the bigger picture here. What does this rise of TikTok Shop tell us about the future of shopping in general?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? I think what's really interesting is how TikTok Shop is changing how we find and buy things. It's different from that traditional search-based model where you go to Amazon or Google and type in exactly what you're looking for.
So instead of actively searching, we're kind of passively discovering.
Exactly. It's all about, stumbling across things in those impulse buys. You're just scrolling through your feed, something grabs your attention, and boom, you've added it to your cart. It's a much more passive, laid-back approach, and it seems to be working really well with especially younger audiences who are used to finding things this way.
It's kind of like how we used to discover things in actual stores. Walking around and suddenly coming across something you didn't even know you needed. TikTok Shop seems to be doing that online.
That's a great point. And I think this shift has big implications for brands. They can't just rely on advertising or SEO anymore. They have to create content that people actually want to see and that makes them want to buy their stuff.
So it's not just about having a good product anymore. It's about telling a story, connecting with people emotionally.
Exactly. And that's where influencers come in. They're like the new tastemakers. And they have so much influence over what people buy, especially on a platform like TikTok.
It's like getting a recommendation from a friend, right?
Yeah.
Feels more real than some random ad.
Exactly. And I think this whole thing with influencer marketing is only going to get bigger no matter what happens with TikTok Shop.
So it's not just TikTok Shop, it's changing the entire landscape.
Yeah, even big players like Amazon are having to adapt. They're trying out their own shoppable video content and working with influencers.
Disrupt or be disrupted, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of disruption, we can't forget about that potential TikTok ban in the U.S. What are your thoughts on that?
If we take a step back, the potential ban raises some really important questions about things like data privacy and national security and the whole U.S.-China relationship. It's a big deal with far-reaching consequences.
It's like watching a game of chess, but in the tech world.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't know what's going to happen. If TikTok has to sell its U.S. operations, maybe the new owner can keep TikTok Shop going.
But what if they can't? What if they lose what makes TikTok Shop special?
That's true. It's hard to copy the platform's algorithm, its community of creators, and its overall brand identity.
So we just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake.
Well, we've definitely talked about a lot when it comes to TikTok Shop. We've explored its rise, its impact on sellers, the power of live streaming and influencers, and that uncertainty of the ban.
And we've touched on the bigger picture, too, how this whole thing is changing the way we shop and interact with brands.
It's been a fascinating journey.
Yeah.
But like always, we've only scratched the surface. Keep digging deeper and see what else you can find out.
Yeah, as you're scrolling through your own TikTok feed, think about how all of this is changing your own habits. Are you buying more? Are you influenced by what you see? Is this just a trend, or is it the future of shopping?
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into TikTok Shop. We'll see you next time.